All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. The New York Knicks have won 6 straight basketball games ever since their acquisition of Josh Hart. On my NBA show, I said it was one of the most underrated moves of the entire trade deadline, and it's paying off dividends. Currently, the New York Knicks, they're getting more and more finals ready. They're ready to make a deep playoff push, and it's a completely different team from last year, even from 2 years ago, the last time they were in the playoffs. Jalen Brunson has been money for him, one of the most underrated guards, underrated players in the entire NBA. Julius Randle is back to his dominant all NBA self. Mitchell Robinson just came back from injury. He's also extremely underrated. This team went 9-2 in the month of February, and they're currently the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference. And they're red hot, man. You could make a very real and easy argument. I guess the Bucks are on a nice winning streak, but the New York Knicks, they're one of the hottest teams in the entire NBA. So welcome back to the channel. My name is Jackson. I post daily NBA content, and I got plenty of Knicks coverage ready to go for the rest of the season. So be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button if you enjoy it. I want to hear your thoughts down below. But here are Josh Hart's stats in the 6 games he's played since this squad got back. 13.8 points per game on 61.2% from the field, 5.3 rebounds, 3.2 assists, 1.2 steals. He's shooting 63.2% from downtown, and everything is working out for this Knicks team. We'll talk about all their young talent a little bit later on in the video, but seriously, even before the Josh Hart acquisition, this Knicks team was severely underrated. Everybody loves watching basketball in Madison Square Garden, and right now, to me, if I'm the Knicks, I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing. They have a nice little chip on their shoulder, and if they could get to Cleveland, they're just 2.5 games back from Cleveland right now. If they could crawl into that 4th spot in the East, you don't want to. They're a legitimate threat. I mean, they're already a legitimate threat as it is right now, and it's crazy because I think Jalen Brunson, like I said earlier on in the video, in general, is extremely underrated. He's very underappreciated, and he was a huge reason why the Dallas Mavericks were able to get as far as they were in the playoffs last season. The New York Knicks, and it shows up in Vegas stat lines, betting odds, all that. The Knicks preseason win total over under was set at 38.5. And every Knicks fan that I know, and even every hardcore NBA fan, every non-casual NBA fan that I knew was like, I'd hammer that over. Now, this is a betting channel, but the New York Knicks currently, with 19 games remaining, already have 36 wins. And, outside of all NBA player Julius Randle, outside of underrated, the All-Star is a whole different conversation, but Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett's had some struggles, but I think, like, I was listening to a talk show earlier today, and they were talking about last night's game against the Boston Celtics, and they were like, it's just different. Boston, I guess there was no Jaylen Brown, which is important to note, but Boston on this road trip, they're just ready to get back home and get some rest, whereas the New York Knicks are playing with this hustle, this bustle. They're trying to prove everybody wrong, make a deep run into the playoffs. They just have more, I guess, again, a chip on their shoulder. And I'm like, well, actually, the New York Knicks have plenty of depth. They have plenty of star power in their 1-2 punch duo of Randle and Brunson. Now Josh Hart, the jack of all trades, the guy every single coach, manager, or coach, GM, front office, whatever you want to say, the players, fans, Josh Hart is a basketball player. He's a perfect player you want on your team. But it's not just him. Even this young talent, that was one of the arguments for the Celtics game was, do they have the same amount of depth as a team like Boston does to make a deep playoff run? I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, Manuel Quickly, first off, had a great game last year. He should be in the running for 6th man of the year. The last time I checked the odds, I did not see his name. I expect that to change by the time the season ends. But, look at draft day steals. You have Emmanuel Quickly, who was the 25th pick, Quentin Grimes, who was the 25th pick, Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson, 30 and 33rd, but those weren't homegrown. Mitchell Robinson, 36th pick. You got to give credit to this front office for assembling this team. People viewed that series 2 years ago where they lost, and it was like, oh, it was a huge letdown. A lot of fingers being pointed at guys like Julius Randle. If you take a look at the roster that they threw out there, I believe Alfred Payton started their games. Like, it is completely different. And the next year they don't make the playoffs, and it was like all of a sudden, for some reason, they're getting this treatment like it's finals win or bust. When in reality, they have this master plan, they have this grand scheme, and everything's coming to fruition right here and right now. Like I said, this team went 9-2 in the month of February, and the two losses were, the Sixers came back. That was earlier on in the month, and then they were up that Clippers game where they were up 3 with like a second left to play. This team in the last month has been one of the best offensive teams. They've been one of the best defensive teams. You see the Chicago flag. I'm a Bulls fan. I love my man Tom Thibodeau. And you got Julius Randle giving you 25, 10.5, and 4 points. Jalen Brunson giving me 24 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. RJ Barrett's chipping away with 20 points. He'll get over these struggles. We're not talking about the future, what they're going to do in the offseason. Emmanuel quickly giving me 13, Quentin Grimes giving me 10. What more do you need? Top offensive and defensive team. And even if you zoom out, offensively speaking, throughout the whole season, they're the 6th best offense in the league as far as offensive rating goes. Defensive rating, they're still top 15, but it's not even an argument. It's just a straight up fact. The defense in the last month or so, even more a little bit, compared to the way they started the season, it's just completely different. They're literally just completely different. Once I want to end this video, talk about Mitchell Robinson, because he's one of the most underrated big men in the entire league. He had a ton of kind of news going around him in the offseason, like, oh, are the Knicks going to bring him back? You got teams like the Chicago Bulls who seemed hungry for him, and it's for a good reason. 41 games played this season. He's giving me 2 blocks a night. 9 rebounds, 4 of those are offensive boards. This team, I think that's another underrated facet of this squad, with guys like, even outside of Brunson and Julius Randle, guys like Mitchell Robinson, guys like Josh Hart, they're going to go out of their way. They're going to out-hustle you. And that is a huge driver to a successful playoff run. So I know there's 19 games left in the regular season, but it's not only right now do you not want to play the New York Knicks, especially after taking down Boston last night, you don't want to play them in the playoffs. Right now it's set up where 4th seed's Cleveland, the 5th seed's the Knicks. If I'm a Cavs fan, maybe we got some Cavs fans watching this video, I'm thinking to myself, hey, we got to get up to 3 so we don't have to play the New York Knicks in the first round of the playoffs. So that's it for today. If you guys enjoyed it and you want more Knicks content, be sure to let me know down below in the comment section. But as always, hit that like button, hit that sub button. We talk Knicks all the time on my daily live NBA show. That'll be pinned in the comments if you guys ever want to come by, drop some opinions there.